One, welcome to another episode of It's Debatable. I'm Justin.
I'm Jalen.
And for this episode, it will be the debut of a new series that we are going to start here on the channel pertaining towards battle rap. And it's going to be called Career Turning Points. Um, it's an idea that we thought of, talking on the call after we had recorded a show. And basically, just to kind of give you all the rundown, we're going to kind of like just talk about a battler and to where a point in their career where it could have took a turn for the worse, or even how it could have propelled them to the next level. So we just felt like in certain people's career, there might have been like a certain moment or a certain battle to where their their, their career just changed. So once again, career turning points for the first ever episode for the new series. The battler we're going to be talking about will be John the Don. He was just the first person that came to mind to me because we were talking about John and Sue Surf, and sort of how after the battle, I still feel till this day his career took a turn from the worst. I feel John just hasn't been the same to me. How I felt about him before, I don't feel now, and we're gonna dive right into it. Um, so just the name John the Don, what comes to mind to you?
Definitely. I feel like he's a good all around battler. I don't really feel like he has too much of a strong suit. I feel like in any given battle, like one attribute could show out a little bit more than the other. Um, Especially against like newer competition, someone that doesn't is not as polished as a battle rapper. He could definitely outshine him in a lot of areas. But I definitely feel like he was just all around great, not really strong in one area. Kind of could touch on a lot of points. Kind of wouldn't say like I would say he was top. He's top tier. Um, but I feel like a lot of times when he faced people in his class, more so, it wasn't really like like too good on his end, but I feel like he was definitely a good solid top tier battle rapper.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. John the Don, definitely known as one of the best battlers to come out of the PGs. I definitely think he's definitely had a huge impact on battle rap. From him just having very highly anticipated battles and performing very well in them. From also starting his own league, I think John will forever be engraved into battle rap. So I definitely think his legacy is cemented. So even after doing this video, I'll still say that John is definitely a legend in my eyes. But yeah, I definitely think his career just definitely had a turning point. Um, just known for his punches and breaking down his opponents. John, coming from grind time and then going to the URL. It was definitely a easy decision. Um, his first couple battles, be Magic and Bill Collector. How how did you feel about those battles?
I remember the B Magic battle and the Bill Collector battle. Definitely, I kind of remember those. Well, he did have some good highlights and all, but I kind of definitely remember that Bill Collector battle more so on Bill Collector and how he was kind of very unique at the time. And then like that was kind of like the first installment of the PGs as well. So definitely, I kind of favored them a little bit more than John at the time. Because just be magic with the punches, then Bill Collector being entertaining and kind of witty with it, like kind of unorthodox. I kind of favored them a little bit more, but like John was there, like it wasn't, but I wasn't really like too fond of him yet at that period of time.
Okay. I definitely feel that after those two performances, I definitely feel like the people upstairs, Mac and Beasley, definitely felt it was time for him to take things to the next level and definitely get like that top tier opponent. So that leads me to talk about Summer Madness 2, arguably the best card of all time. John the Don definitely got his ultimate test, and he got to face Hitman Holla. Definitely a legendary battle. I believe at like 5 million something views right now. When you talk about battle rap, you're definitely gonna talk about this battle. If you're introducing battle rap to somebody new, this could be one of the battles you definitely suggest. Definitely a great back and forth between them. And John John definitely held his own. Hitman Holla definitely set the tone every single round, and I feel John John the Don definitely met his energy every round. How did you just feel about that battle at today's current date?
Yeah, I felt like that was one of the classics as well. Just even the promo leading up to it, John John really called out Hitman Holla, was begging for the battle, like was prominent. Like, I would definitely beat Hitman Holla. They was definitely about to battle in like front of a hotel at one point. Like they were very serious about like their matchup. Like John John was serious about having Hitman Holla, and it was a big shout out to Hitman Holla just taking a PG at the time. Hitman Holla was one of the top tier people, and John was fairly new to the culture, so even now, like you kind of see that reverse aspect. And, like John now is like the top tier, giving all the rookies a chance. But it really started off with him and Holland just giving out John that shot first. So even in the battle though, I feel like that was definitely a close battle, classic battle on both ends. Um, Really, I had John 2 won that battle, but it's really debatable to whatever your preference is. But it's regardless a classic battle on the card.
Yeah, once again, I definitely feel after that battle, John John's name was definitely just solidified in the culture. After the Hitman Holla battle, he just was staying on a great run. He battled people like K Shine, Mav Hoffa, and JC. Did any of those matchups stand out to you?
No, not really. I kind of like the K-Shon battle just a little bit, but with the exception that like I watched those battles, but I really wasn't like too hype on them at that time. But still, at that time, like the Hitman Holla battle was still like the best battle I had for him at that time. Like those battles were cool, but I don't really feel like kind of shifted too much. It kind of at most kind of just kind of solidified his spot more into the culture.
No, right. Just that point you made right there. I definitely feel after those battles, um, he just definitely proved that he was a person you just couldn't take lightly. Um, and definitely a top tier battle rapper because if you talk about names like K Shine, Math Hoffa, and JC, those are definitely top tier opponents to face, and he definitely held his own. He didn't get body in any of those battles, and you can arguably say that he won those battles. So I definitely think that John John, after those he started to get into a position to where he can start to give people shots, right? So then if we get into the battles like when he battled Prep and Mr. Wavy, those are battles that are very high on his catalog because he ended up biting those opponents. Prep coming out of the UFF tournament, he definitely had a lot of buzz to his name, and then he battled John John the Don, and Prep had to do like a whole like ego change. Like he just turned into a whole different type of battle rapper. And then we all remember what happened with Mr. Wavy. Coming off a great K Shine battle, he definitely got this look on Summer Madness against John John the Don. And after the battle, we all felt that Mr. Wavy learned his lesson, and it was just too quick of a jump. John John the Don just definitely showed the levels and just once again body both of those opponents. Even a battle to more recent date, Jack Boy Maine, they sort of had like a mini grudge match, and then once they met on Gnome, we all know um what John John did to Jack Boy Maine, and that battle will forever go down to history. Sort of like comparing like John John to like a DNA because they were both known as like PG killers. Um, but just speaking of just those two right there, do you see any similarities between the John John, the Don, and DNA?
Um, Probably status and the culture wise, but like rapping wise, I feel like it's very different. I feel like John is, I'm not John. DNA is a more skilled battle rapper than John. Just kind of strong in a lot more areas. Just the ability to freestyle. It's kind of more so out of the box. I feel like John is really your textbook. If your textbook rapper, he's really not gonna. wow you too much, but he can wow you at points. But I feel like he's more so textbook. Like if you want to know what a scheme is, like this is the like simplest way for you to break down a scheme or something. You know, he kind of has those textbook elements, knows how to do the stage presence thing. But I feel like DNA has that same attribute, but just even stronger a little bit. So, and he has a little bit more classic battles. But status in the culture, I feel like they're kind of in that same rank. They're in the same rank, but I wouldn't say they're like similar though.
Right. So in 2015, 2016, John the Don definitely started his own league, bullpen battle league, and even till today's date, it's been a huge staple in the culture. It's definitely ushered in a lot of stars we do see today. People like Loso, Bad News, just really growing on that league right there, bullpen battle league. Just John the Don, not saying he was the first to do it, but the way he has done it has looked like the most successful from like a battler, starting their own league. Even people like Geechee Gotti starting their own league now. Easy the Black Captain. I feel like John sort of like paved the way and like showed them the blueprint on how to do that. But him just pulling that off, like what, like how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's a big shout out to him, especially expanding battle rap. At the time, it was kind of prominent in New York, and I feel like he was the first to at least expand all the way down to Atlanta for battle rap. That was very huge for the culture as well. And then after that, you kind of seen Smack expanded as well, all the way to LA, Texas, North Carolina, and all. So I feel like he kind of is a forefronter for the, expanding battle rap part as well. So, and even ushering the new talent as well and having classic battles on Battle League, with Tay Rock and Bad News, and then Briz and Loso, which is one of my favorites. So he definitely did his thing, and then definitely contributed a lot to the culture.
Right. So I even spoke about before grudge matches when speaking about Jack Boy Maine. But the reason I said it was a little grudge match because it doesn't compare to, I feel, the two biggest grudge matches that John has had to date. And those two names, Sue Surf and Hollow the Don. I feel like both of them just always having a higher status in the culture than John the Don. They did make him wait a long time, but I even feel like just both of them being vets, them just building the storyline when they eventually did meet up, I think it was just gonna make for a better battle. Um, but then we get to Summer Madness 8, 2018. I believe in London, because that was where John the Don faced Hollow the Don. We all know, the back and forth that they had behind the scenes. Them even just having the same name, people saying that John copied Hollow the Don. Just their whole history. How did you feel about that? Just as a battle rap fan over the years, seeing it just build up. How did you feel?
Yeah, definitely just hearing the story about it, how there was a supposed fight between the two, and then supposedly John beat him up and all this other jazz. It was very hilarious to hear, but just battle wise, I didn't really see it until I seen it like on the card, but yeah, it was more so with the drama aspect. I never really seen it on the battle aspect, but it was good to see though. Like yeah.
Right. I definitely think it was well, I think it was a decent battle, but consensus wise, John the Don won that battle. So
Mm.
I feel after that, John was just somebody that had to be reckoned with, and I feel, in my opinion, just hadn't clearly been unbeat. Right? Like we've seen like T Rex lose T-Rex lose to Charlie Clips, and like that being a body bag.
It's frozen.
You know, John the Don still had Sue Surf on it on his hit list. Um as the time went as time went by, John the Don continued to battle just different battlers, Geechee Gotti, Twerk, he even teamed up with the same person he battled on the Summer Madness 2 card, Hitman Holla against Charlie Clips and Goods. Does any of those battles stand out to you? Yeah.
Mm, the 2-on-2, but that was like it was okay. Like these are solid battles. It's not really something that like you know that I'm like hype on, but it's definitely just solid battles to where I feel like it doesn't like it didn't really hurt him. Like these are like just solid battles just helping his career. Like yeah, like it's nothing that's wowing me though. It's just like solid battles for the most part. Yeah.
Point still being made that the man was still clearly not losing though.
Yeah.
Even like even if you felt Geechee won or John won or Twerk won or John won, like nobody clearly lost in their debatable battles. And they are battles I feel that you can rewatch. So Sue Surf, seeing that, I feel the fans seeing just the run that John was on. It was definitely time for, Sue Surf and John to me. So we all know just the backstory between them two. How did you feel just seeing that storyline play out?
Yeah, I feel like Surf. I don't know. I don't really. I feel like John got him at a good time because even prior to that battle, I feel like Sue Surf was kind of on a downslope because he had battled Loaded Lux and then choked, and then the 40 bars was like debatable, and then he took like a long break, and then he was doing the like the hosting, and like took a long break from battle rap. So and then at that time too, John like he battled Ill Will on that Summer Madness card, but then that was like really his only battle at that time. So I feel like they both took a lot of time for it to like brew up. And then like once they finally announced it, I forgot what card it was, but it was definitely after like I think a Smack Value. It definitely came as a shock, and it got us interested back into the battle. Even on the spaces, from them going back and forth on the spaces as well. I feel like they just built it up to the point where okay, like this is what people want to see at this time. So, and I felt like that was really the only battle, not the only battle, but the battle that made the most sense for Surf. Because to your point, like John wasn't really losing, and they both had taken a lot of time off of battle rap beforehand, so it just made sense on both ends.
Right. So I feel the battle John and Sue Surf was very highly anticipated for how both of the battlers just how both of the battlers sold the battle. On Sue Surf's end, just being very marketable. Just the shit talking. The way that he portrayed John to the fans was that he was just better in just life, period.
Mm-hmm.
But John just not clearly losing. His stance was that I always put on great battles. I've beaten some of your favorite battle rappers. I have more body bags than you. His arguments I feel was just more performance based, where Sue Surf was just talking about literally everything else. So I feel like us as fans, just all of us in the culture, probably going into the battle, I think it was just 50-50. I definitely think it was smart people that like me that knew that once these two met up, if Sue Surf was gonna take the battle serious, that Sue Surf was gonna win, because if you just look at those two as battlers, like their archetypes, Sue Surf just checks off more boxes.
Mm-hmm.
He's just more talented. John is also very good on the big stage as well. A decent puncher. So I definitely did think he was going to do better than how the battle transpired. But just Surf, like on just Surf on an 8, I feel is better than John on a 10. And that's no disrespect to John. That's just the work that Sue Surf has put in over the years. Um, so we all seen how the battle played out. I feel consensus wise, everybody said that Sue Surf won 3-0. Um, I remember seeing interviews saying John saying that the timing of the battle was off, and once it was really booked, his mind wasn't all the way in it, and this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, you lost. Um, just how did you feel about the loss? Like, because I feel like once again, I think we both thought Sue Surf would win the battle, but not in the fashion that he did. So
Mm-hmm.
how did you feel about that battle?
Yeah, I feel like it was again. I feel like Sue Surf was just kind of smarting his ass up because if you really Pete is really like the first battle on the big stage coming from that COVID closed like small room
Right.
battle. So that was kind of like the first one. Like, all right, we back outside, and felt like with John John's approach, it would have been better in the small room because he's not really punchlining, not really writing material for the crowd. He's over here doing personals and how you wanted to write the battle together, really talking really to Surf and trying to angle and really exposing a lot of Surf like dirt or whatever. But again, like it's a big stage. The crowd wants to be entertained. We want to hear punchlines, and then that's what Surf delivered, like just straight, the Bible, like the Bible schemes. Like he just had too much firepower for John John to where John John approached the battle way differently. And on now, and then when you look at it on the big stage, it just looks like John John was just underwhelming because it was just like, bro, we did not want to hear that. And like, you prepared, you try to hype this battle up for so long, you wanted this battle for so long, and on a big stage, that's what you perform. It just looked atrocious. So yeah, that's how I felt about it. But Surf clearly won, and I feel like Surf was definitely smart, knew his advantages.
Right. So I even think what made it even worse was the fact that, John damn near sat down for a whole year before even just being relevant in battle rap again. So it just made the loss look even more crazy. I feel that John the Don did definitely pick up some steam though. Once he started having the back and forths with Easy the Black Captain, but the battle just never came to fruition. Like the battle never happened. So would you want to see John the Don and Easy the Black Captain?
Not at this moment
But why not?
because it just doesn't make sense on either side. I really feel like Easy's kind of due for a big opponent, especially what he did with Hitman Holla and everything. I feel like John John doesn't really have that same hype around him at this time.
Right. So the point I was just trying to make was that after the Sue Surf battle, him just losing 3-0 consensus wise, and then taking the year off, and then just not battling anybody else. Like I don't want to say since because I know he definitely battled on his league. I I believe a battler called Reggie P. And I even heard that was a debatable battle. He also had the Chef Trez battle. They definitely had a backstory just going into their battle. But I feel consensus had Chef Trez winning that matchup. So I feel that's why the Easy the Black Captain versus John even wasn't really highly anticipated anymore. Because when we was seeing John, he just wasn't putting on the best performances. But I want to ask you where should he go from here?
Um, Honestly, there's really not too much for John John to do. I really feel like he could just focus on bullpen, but I feel like as a battle rap, he's kind of fully accomplished. It's not really no big name battle left for him. Like I really feel like he could just still play his part and like kind of, be that gatekeeper for where if there's a PG coming in to really solidify yourself in the URL, you have to battle John John. So I really feel like he could just play that role because I really feel like there's really like he kind of reached. I don't want to say he reached his ceiling, but there's really no more like backstory grudge match battles that would make sense for him at this point. But I feel like he has just played his role and just kind of focus on bullpen.